a big jump there. We went through the first part of the book, now we're at the end of the book. But some things I wanted to tie together here as we finish up. As we said in the previous sermons, that this is Moses' last instruction to the people. The people are getting ready to go into the promised land, into Canaan. They're going ahead with Joshua. Moses isn't going with them. He's getting ready to go up on the mountain and die. So this is the last bit of instruction that Moses gets to share with the people of Israel. And so he wraps up the sermon with the section, well, part of the section, there's a little bit more after this, but the part of the section that David read for us. These are the things that I want you to remember. These are the things that I want you to do. And one of the things he emphasizes in this last section is that you live it now. You'll notice in the verses, here's verse 11. Now what I am commanding you today is not too difficult for you or beyond your reach. What I'm commanding you today, not in a year from now, not when you guys get settled in the land, not when you get everything kind of figured out, not when you have your town, everything's moved in and everything's ready, but today. Today's the day you start obeying God. And he says it's not too hard for you. It's within your reach. You don't have to send someone after it. It's there. He says it's in your mouth. It's on your heart. It's there. I like to procrastinate. Anybody else with me on that? Okay, good. I didn't start this sermon until this morning. No. But Tracy always asks me, is the sermon done yet? And I said, no, I haven't preached it yet. Even after I preach it, it's sometimes not done. I'm still rewriting it and saying, well, I should have done this differently. And I think one of my issues in graduate school was I was always writing papers up to the last minute. And I always kind of enjoyed research. And so there was another article to read, there was another book to look at, there was something else to examine. But at some point, you've got to just put all that aside and say, I've covered as much as I possibly can cover right now, and now it's time to write. Now it's time to start getting these things in order and these thoughts together. Moses is telling the people, you've got enough. You know enough. You have enough resources at your hand to start living this now. In our faith, too often, we want one more class. We want one more Bible study. We want one more seminar. We want, once I really understand, then I can start whatever. Studying with my neighbors, talking with my friends, sharing my faith, and I can start teaching a Bible class, and all these things that we could do if I just had more. You've got enough. You start living this out today. You've got enough. And, we kind of try to convince ourselves that, there's more that we should know. If I just got my life straightened out, if I just had everything together, then I can start. It doesn't work that way. Today, obey his voice. Today, listen to him and do what he says. It'll all come. There's more to know. There's always more to know. That's part of what education is, I think, is you learn how much you don't know. And as you learn more and more, your sphere of what you don't know increases. You become more and more aware of all the different things that you don't know. And you're not going to know. Because there's not time. And you're not God. But you don't have to be. You already know enough. And so, today is the day to be obedient. Today is the day to follow him. So in the second part, he says you have to make a choice. Well, I didn't say this choice, but we all make choices, right? Is it Barry or Buffett? Barry? How many berries? Oh boy, it's Buffett, huh? See? It's neither one. What is it? That's what you guys don't understand. You got it wrong on the first one. Okay? Paper or plastic? Plastic. Steelers or Saints? Yeah. How many real North Carolinians do we have here that's got to be Pepsi? You can tell the difference. Yeah. You come and they say, you order at a restaurant, you say, I want Pepsi. And they say, is Coke all right? You say, no. Who says no? Maggie's the only one? We got two. Phil?
Two for me.
Okay, I need 4 volunteers that think they know Pepsi. 4 volunteers. Now, okay, we got Maggie and Jonathan.
Mary's better.
Mary? Okay, we'll do Mary. We'll do David. Okay. Would you take those 4 to my office? Oh, wow.
Jonathan.
Chose the wrong one.
Would you 2 guys grab the table over there?
Now they're the Pepsi people, right?
These are the Pepsi people. So we're going to see if they can tell Pepsi or not. Can they figure
Oh,
it out?
wow.
You remember back in the 80s, they used to have the Pepsi Challenge? Anybody remember that? They used to go around different places, and they would pour 1 glass of Coke and 1 glass of Pepsi, and they wanted you to choose which is your favorite. And they did all these taste tests, and they said Pepsi's better, of course, right? Because it's a Pepsi Challenge. Now I'm not sure how they well, that might be. I remember them. They came to. We owned a recreation center. We had a go-kart track and bat cages and miniature golf and driving range. Our family did, and they came and they set up this booth, and they were giving people the Pepsi Challenge right there, where we sold Pepsi products in the vending machines and at the concession stand, and so they were there kind of promoting all this.
You confused us.
I can tell the difference by search. Coke's got no food. Pepsi's.
We're being real scientific here. We're going to give the Pepsi Challenge a little bit to the. Is this?
See the fizz.
That's good.
Yes.
Coke's on our list.
Are we kind of watching what she's doing here?
Yes.
Oh my God. You little rascal. You little rascal. Look at her. Oh my gosh, you're a rascal. You are.
Okay, are we
Miss Tracy.
ready there? Yeah? Okay, come on back. Coke and they give you Pepsi, and you had to pick which one you like better. And of course, you're supposed to pick Pepsi. That's the Pepsi challenge. But you gotta like Pepsi. So, you know. You prefer Coke?
We're testing ourselves.
Okay. You think you know the difference, though? Okay.
You've lost
Who's first? Maggie, you're the Pepsi. Come on. Okay. I want you to drink just a little bit of this one, and a little bit of the second one, and see if you can pick out which one is Pepsi. Yeah. Yeah. You're supposed to try both of them.
Oh,
How did you have some unmarked cleanser
Which one? So this one's Pepsi. This one's Pepsi. It's Pepsi. Okay. Well, you just, stay right here. Okay, who wants to be next? Okay, come on. Take a little drink of one, take a little drink of the other. We got separate cups, hygienic, they don't have to share good. Just a little bit, the whole thing. That's the only reason you volunteered. Okay, which one? Hey, this one's Pepsi. This one. Pepsi! All right. Okay. Okay. We're on the third one. You take a little drink of one, take a little drink of the other. Pick one. That one? Second one? Okay. Up. Coke. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay. Last one, David. Do you need to kind of swirl it?
Oh, these just doing real taste test.
I'm curious.
It won't be hard. Yeah, it is.
That's right. You're half right. It was mix.
That's that trace.
They were both a mix. Mary was,
Well, they must have put more Pepsi in it.
Mary was at a disadvantage. She couldn't get it right to start with. They were both Coke. Jonathan couldn't mess up. Now Maggie did have a legitimate choice. Okay. Now, I want us to think, you can be seated. Thank you very much. Let's maybe move this back over out of the way a little bit.
Scientific research.
You guys will come finish the rest of this code? That's right. There we go. Thank you, Greg.
Later.
That's right. I want you to think about these choices, though. Sometimes we do have a legitimate choice. There's there's good and there's bad. Now, if you're a Pepsi person, the Pepsi's good, the Coke is bad. If you're a Coke person, you switch that. Sometimes it's all good, right? No matter what you choose, it's good. God can work with us in our choices. Sometimes it doesn't look like we've got a good choice at all. That they're both kind of bad. And maybe that time we got to maybe reject the premise that we've only got two choices. And we got to look for, maybe there's more options out there.
They both might be bad.
And maybe sometimes it's kind of a mixed choice. God tells the Israelites that they've got a choice to make. It's more serious than paper or plastic. It's more serious than Barry or Buffett or Saints or Steelers, Coke and Pepsi. You need to choose between life and death. That's your choice, right? That's our choice today. You need to choose between life and death. He says, verse 15, "See, I set before you today life and death, life and prosperity, death and destruction." Now, what are you going to pick? You know, when it's laid out there like that, you want life and prosperity, or would you rather have death and destruction? And that's how he lays this out. You can follow God, obey him, do what he says, and you get life and you get prosperity. You can ignore God, you can go the way of the idols and do your own thing, and you get death and destruction. The way he puts it before them is really not a choice. And yet, we get ourselves in such a tizzy about trying to figure things out. We end up with kind of like David, with the two drinks that are mixed, and we think we can do God and we can do what God wants, but we can also kind of do a little bit of what we want, and we just do it part way. He says that's not really an option. God doesn't take that. You can't. He says you can't do me and the idols. You can't take that away. It doesn't work. The boys, we used to call it suicide, right? When you just, you go down the fountain drink and you just hit every button, and you keep going to the ground. You can't do that with God. You've got to make a choice. But his choice is a lot clearer. Right? When it's laid out like that, that's not hard to choose, is it? We just kind of, we kind of convince ourselves that that's not really the choice. If I choose against God, am I really choosing death and destruction? Well, that's so far away. Got time. That's what we do. Today is the day to obey. Today is the day to do what he says. The last command here. For I command you today to love the Lord your God, to walk in obedience to him, keep his commandments, decrees, and laws. Then you will live and increase, and the Lord your God will bless you in the land you are entering to possess. What do we need to do? What do we need to learn? We need to love God. We need to obey his commands. When we do those things, we choose life. We choose prosperity. We choose the way of God. The way of God is better than anything else we could choose. Jesus told his disciples, "You are my friends if you do what I command." And that's what He wants from us. He wants us to obey Him. He wants us to follow Him and do what He tells us to do. And this is not a manipulative, you're not really my friend unless you do what I tell you to do. Jesus isn't six. Jesus wants us to do what He commands us, not for His benefit, but for ours. So that's the choice before us today. What are you going to do? How are you going to choose? That choice is open to all of us. If you have a need this morning, if you need help with that choice, if you need help following that choice, committing to that choice, then that's what we're here for.